Before roses hid the blood, there was a boy counting coins in a cold apartment. Coriolanus Snow lives in the capital's ruins 10 years after the war, a patrician name draped over empty cupboards. His grandmother clings to ceremony, his cousin Tigris mends dignity out of fabric and silence. Coriolanus studies like survival is a sport. The Plinth Prize, a scholarship promised to the top student, looks like oxygen. Then Dean Casca Highbottom announces a change: no prize for grades alone. Seniors will be mentors in the 10th Hunger Games, and the best mentor will win the scholarship. Hunger becomes homework. The games are crude at this point. No glossy arenas, no pageantry, just a bombed-out stadium and the capital's mean idea of order. Dr. Volumnia Gall, head gamemaker, treats cruelty as curriculum. Sejanus Plinth arrives as complication, a wealthy classmate from District 2 whose father defected to the capital during the war. Sejanus loathes the games with a sincerity that makes him dangerous to himself and to anyone who cares about him. Coriolanus reads the room the way he always has: calculate, adapt, smile on time. Reaping Day puts a singer on a stage built for fear. In District 12, Lucy Gray Baird, member of the traveling covey, drops a bow to the mayor's daughter, then answers the reaping with a song that refuses to be small. A snake in a dress, the town whispers. In truth, she's something harder to file, defiant without armor. The capital broadcasts her voice into living rooms that forgot voices could be used for anything but compliance. Coriolanus draws Lucy Gray as his tribute. A practical boy would recoil from a girl who seems more performer than predator. Coriolanus is not that boy. He sees an angle and maybe a mirror. Mentor and tribute meet behind glass and then up close. He brings her food, she appraises him with an artist's eye, they trade promises that sound like strategy and feel like possibility. The mentors are supposed to fatten their tributes with interviews and pity. Coriolanus suggests something bolder: give the audience reasons to invest, sponsor gifts, spectacle, stories. The game makers are listening. Television starts to swallow the games, just as it will for decades. Sejanus, assigned to a dying boy from his old district, begs Coriolanus to help him end this cruelty. Coriolanus nods where it's useful and files away the shape of Sejanus's heart. A bomb detonates under the arena during a tribute showcase, trauma layered on cruelty. Tributes and mentors die. The capital doubles down, security tightens, the games must go on to prove that the capital cannot be rattled. Dr. Gall visits the hospital with snakes in a tank and philosophy dressed as science. She teaches what she believes: morality is a story you tell the strong to slow them down. Coriolanus pretends to nod while learning a different lesson: how to survive people who think of you as a piece on their board. The 10th Hunger Games begin in a ruin that remembers screams. This isn't yet the maze of future years, it's concrete cameras and the smell of wet ash. Lucy Gray doesn't charge, she observes. Coriolanus cheats the way an aspiring authoritarian must: quietly. He smuggles ideas and aid, sponsor gifts delivered by crude drones, notes that teach Lucy Gray how to use the set to survive. When Gall unleashes a pit of rainbow-scaled snakes, the venomous kind from her lab, they attack everyone except the girl who sent Coriolanus preceded by dropping his tribute's handkerchief into the tank during a lesson. Lucy Gray's song steadies the scene into myth: girl and snakes, harmony and horror, the origin image of a future brand. The audience, hungry for a narrative, obliges. Sponsors do too. The games turn on that fulcrum. Lucy Gray wins not because she kills best, but because she refuses to be written by someone else. Victory rarely pays as promised. Coriolanus is caught for cheating and sentenced, not executed, to military service as a peacekeeper in District 12. Gall calls it education, Highbottom calls it justice. Tigris cannot protect him. He boards a train headed for the coal-scarred district where Lucy Gray is trying to turn survival into something like life. The reunion is a secret in a place where secrets survive by keeping still. She takes him to the Covey, a family of musicians living under Paynham's radar, and to a hidden lake that looks, for a moment, like another country. Love lands in small acts: a song shared, a meal saved, a hand chosen over fear when sirens wail. District 12 is a powder magazine. The mayor's daughter Mayfair has reasons to hate Lucy Gray that are personal and loud. Sejanus appears too, running from the capital's comfort toward a morality that feels truer in the mud. He talks like a rebel and acts like a friend on the wrong side of a line the capital drew with guns. Coriolanus tries to be both: loyal peacekeeper in daylight, boy in love by moonlight. He's good at the first because he's good at pretending. He's good at the second because he wants to be. Then pretense collides with policy. A string of events, part accident, part design, turns the district into a crime scene. A smuggling run, a violent encounter by the hanging tree, an opportunistic official, shots in the dark. Coriolanus becomes a participant in the chaos he came to police. He feels his future shrink to a single choice: flee with Lucy Gray into anonymity or choose the capital and the staircase it promises. It's not an honest choice. Either path costs a version of himself. He picks both long enough to make neither pure. Sejanus is the test he fails loudly. The boy from District 2, conscience louder than caution, steps into real treason with a recorder in his pocket and a friend who will sell him for the right price. Coriolanus informs on him, not quite directly, not quite reluctantly. He packages betrayal as concern and hands it to those who know how to use it. Sejanus is executed off-screen, which is how the Capitol likes its punctuation: clean, permanent, deniable. Coriolanus claims the moral of the story: he had no choice. He always finds a reason to keep what he wants. With blood now on his hands that wasn't there by accident, Coriolanus tries to cash out the other life. He and Lucy Gray run. The woods are not neutral. Fear is a cartographer. Every snap of a twig redraws the map. In a cabin he finds evidence he'd rather not own: guns, secrets, reminders that no one is innocent under occupation. Paranoia blooms. The boy who kept lists begins to hear betrayal in silence. The film walks the line between uncertainty and confession. A snake in a dress, a stocking in grass, a scarf on a branch, a gunshot. We do not see everything. We see enough to understand that love became another problem to solve and that Coriolanus solves problems by choosing himself. He returns to the capital carrying grief, guilt, and the best story he can craft. Dr. Gall receives him with a smile sharp enough to stitch. He's learned her lesson perhaps too well. Power loves a boy who can describe his ambition as righteousness. Highbottom, who invented the games and has been drinking ever since, finally tells the truth about the Plinth Prize and about the grudge he bears against Coriolanus's father. The confession is a gift and a knife. Coriolanus returns it with poison. A morphling dosed glass, a polite farewell. The man who birthed the games dies in his chair, a final note in a ledger that won't close for decades. The film does not declare a coronation, it signs a petition on the future. Dr. Gall secures Coriolanus a recommendation to university and beyond. The Plinth family, grieving, rich, useful, becomes his ladder. Tigris sees what he is becoming and flinches. The audience sees it too. The careful boy who wanted a scholarship is now a careful man who will redesign a country to fit his fear. Somewhere in the districts, a song called The Hanging Tree begins to pass from mouth to mouth, credited to Lucy Gray, to the Covey, to anyone who needed to believe the woods could still whisper justice. In the capital, roses take root, the kind that smell sweet because they're hiding something stronger. What the prequel lays out with ruthless clarity. The games are a laboratory before they're a spectacle. Sponsors, interviews, gifts, personal stories. Coriolanus helps invent the mechanisms that will make later games addictive and obscene. Dr. Gall teaches ideology as science, fear as useful, mercy as weak. Coriolanus learns the lesson not by believing it but by discovering how effective it is. Sejanus is the moral horizon. When a friend's humanity conflicts with your ambition, the choice you make writes your future. Coriolanus chooses the future he can control. Lucy Gray is not a manic pixie rebellion. She's a survivor whose art is both shield and sword. She refuses to be anyone's symbol permanently, which makes her the one person Coriolanus cannot own. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes ends before the palace, but after the pivot. A young Snow has learned that love is a liability in a system designed to punish it, that story is a weapon he can wield better than most, and that every compromise can be narrated into necessity. The man who will one day smile over a glass of blood-scented roses doesn't arrive by miracle. He arrives the way most tyrants do, one rationalized decision at a time. Somewhere in a coal district, a singer walks deeper into the trees with a harmonica in her pocket and a choice to remain ungoverned. Somewhere under the Capitol, a boy writes the first draft of his empire and files it under order. The future we already know is now inevitable and newly tragic.